Hey, this is James, the XDMAN, and I'm here with the man himself, Mr. John May from Ed Brown. John, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am doing excellent. It's the busy time of the year in the industry, and
Indeed.
that's a good thing for sure. So, John, we're doing this second video now because I made a major mistake the first one. We glossed over the fact of all these parts you guys have, and I'd like to talk to you about those if we can. If
You
you got a
bet.
minute.
You
Well,
bet.
John, let's start out real quick though. Can you remind everybody who you are?
My name's John May. I've been in the industry for, well, forever, actually, it seems like. And more specifically, I probably shot my first 1911 when I was 19. I'll be 56 this year, so I've been handling 1911 for a while. Um, you'll find me under any rock you look at in this industry. I've a five-time IDPA National Match Director. I've been a firearms instructor, concealed carry instructor, and I've been a gun salesman since what 99, I guess. So I've been around in it.
So,
I'm going to
yeah,
finish my career with Ed Brown because I've never had a better home ever. I mean, it's probably one of the finest group of people I've ever worked with, and it seemed like a perfect fit for me. So I'm calling it my final gig.
yes, sir. In fact, I like to call now. Now, remember, I don't work for Ed Brown or anything like that. So, viewing from the outside, Ed Brown to me is one of the finest firearms manufacturers in the world. Really, I mean, they build beautiful guns, custom stuff. So, in our first interview, we were talking about the Fueled series, the M&P pistols that you guys build, and
Yes,
like I said, my mistake. It was kind of a long video, so we were kind of moving along. But one of the things that caught my eye or caught my ear when I listened to it was that you guys basically take a brand new M&P pistol, take it completely apart, throw everything away, and are left with the frame, and you rebuild it in the Ed Brown image to just make an ultra match custom M&P, the likes that no one has ever seen. Correct?
that's fairly accurate. I mean, there are a lot of parts left over when we tear those down. That's what got us in the Smith and Wesson OEM parts business to start with. Was we had all these slides and barrels and other components laying around. We thought, what are we going to do with all that stuff? And you'll find if you look around, we're about the only source for that stuff. You can't buy that from Smith and Wesson.
Yeah.
So where else are you going to get it? You get one where a guy has taken it off a gun and put some other slide on, or occasionally one that got lost. I don't know how that happens, but I get people that call all the time and go, "Hey, I lost my slide." I've never lost a slide. I've lost other things, but I've never lost a slide.
I have plenty of similar stories, being a gunsmith myself and also in the gun industry, in the gun store, it happens.
Yep.
And that's the one thing that I wanted to talk about, that you have all these factory they're brand new parts, right?
Right.
And you've got all these parts just laying around. I imagine a table full of just Smith and Wesson parts. And let me tell you a story. So the last time I ordered a part from Smith and Wesson was the channel liner, and it's just a plastic piece that goes in the middle of the channel.
Are you still waiting on it?
No, I got it, but you're talking almost 8 months later.
Yeah.
And then like I said, when I watched that first video again of me and you talking, we just glossed right over it. It was like, wait a minute, what do they do with all those parts? And so let me ask you, so you got all these brand new parts, what kind of parts do you sell?
Currently just the slide and the frame, and we're doing some completed stuff. We
Okay.
actually have a rebuild kit that we buy all of those little components you were talking about from Smith and Wesson, and we build
Nice.
put this kit together. But we're expanding. We were just talking this week about, you can imagine we have a mass amount of triggers where we take out the factory trigger.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
all of those components. I mean, there are boxes full of those now, and we are working out how we're going to sell all that stuff and find out if people are interested. I mean, I don't know what the demand is going to be for a factory trigger, but maybe somebody lost theirs. Maybe they broke a piece of it. Who knows? I don't know.
Well,
My gut tells me they're going to go on and get a custom trigger if they do that.
Well, I could tell you from personal experience that having repaired some of these guns before, that you do get a lot of people that take the M&P apart, and it is a plastic trigger.
Yep.
And one of the tricky things, if you don't have the proper slave pin and the technique, when you go to put the gun back together, you could smush and break the hole at the top of the trigger, so it's unusable now. So you having those triggers available, that's a part you cannot get from Smith and Wesson.
Yeah.
They will require you to send that gun into Smith and Wesson, and maybe if you're lucky, if you just won the lotto, you might get it back in a couple months' time. So it is fantastic to hear that you guys are going to offer those. Ed Brown's going to offer those parts available for people to just buy. Are you going to put any restrictions on them, or are they available for people to buy?
No, we just started talking about this last week. Currently, the only OEM parts that are up there are the slide and the barrel. We'll add those other ones as we get them sorted out. How do we want to sell them? What needs to be included with them? There's some details to go through there. But yeah, I don't see any reason not to sell those things. If there's a demand, why wouldn't you? I don't know what else I'd do with it. Nothing gets destroyed when you tear one down. So all of that stuff's laying around. As a matter of fact, I just worked out what we should look at, and I've been scoping demand to see if there is a demand for the trigger, for example. I hadn't thought about breakage. I thought more about loss, or somebody's always tinkering with something and messing it up.
A spring goes flying into orbit, never to be seen again. It happens. It definitely does. And things like the channel liner, sometimes you can get them out, but it just depends on the gun. Every gun is different, is a unique individual, and sometimes you have to break something to get it apart, if that makes sense. Let's say a rusted slide. Sometimes you have to cut that rear sight. You got to mill it out. Well, now you need a new sight. Or there was one instance that just something as simple, a police officer jumped into a lake, didn't clean the gun and oil it, and then his drop safety rusted shut in the slide.
Wow.
So that's, once it's rusted and pitted, that's not something you want to reuse.
Right.
So you got to replace it. So I'm glad that those parts are available. Specifically, you were talking about the slides and the barrels.
Yes.
Why would somebody want to buy a slide or a barrel? What kind of things do you envision your customers doing with those?
Well, we sell them to people that and I've asked some folks that were buying them what they're used for. I had a guy bought 15 of them the other day. So I had to call him and say, what's the deal? And his deal was, he is a gunsmith who builds custom M&Ps and machine slides and stuff. And he needed it to cover breakage. Sometimes things go wrong when it's on the mill. Sometimes you overcut. Sometimes he just needs one. And occasionally people lose them, and he wanted to be able to provide a replacement for that. I get people that buy it because they want a custom slide, but they also want to go back to their factory slide. I don't know what they did with their original factory slide, but a guy I talked to a couple of weeks ago, that's exactly what he told me was, okay, I have a custom slide. He had one from us, and he said, I also want to go back to the factory slide. Well, I don't know what he did with his original factory slide, but clearly he wanted another one. Caliber conversions are popular.
Yes.
Nobody wants a 40 cal anymore. They want to convert them to 9. So
exactly,
a lot of that happens. Yeah.
And a lot of people may not realize that on the Smith and Wesson M&P, the serial number is on the frame, but it is not on the slide or the barrel. So even take Glocks, if you switch the slides and you buy a used Glock slide on, let's say, Gunbroker or something like that, it has that old serial number on there, which could get kind of confusing, if you get pulled over with that gun. Smith and Wesson, there's no serial numbers that match the frame to the slide. So that's amazing. I do have a couple 40 M&Ps that, it's definitely cheaper to shoot 9mm for sure.
Sure. I actually talked to some retired engineers from Smith, and they pride themselves on interchangeability. That was one of their things when they started going after government contracts, military contracts, law enforcement contracts. And not only just that, but assembly, they pride themselves on interchangeability. Now, see, that sounds foreign to folks like us that hand fit everything. Interchangeability
Yeah.
sounds foreign, but they held it at a high standard because they wanted to be able to take parts out of a box and assemble it and make a gun that way. So
Yes.
there is a lot of that stuff that works together. If you look at their, and I know most people don't have access to it, I have their OEM list of parts and price list and all that stuff. And all of the stuff that's common across the line is pretty amazing how many parts they repeat in different models. There are a lot of parts that are shared across the line, some that are specific. One thing that Smith does that drives me crazy is they build a whole lot of editions of, special editions or custom shotguns or whatever, and they'll have little differences in them that will make stuff not compatible with it. And it just drives us crazy. Somebody will buy something from us and call and go, hey, this isn't compatible. Like the worst is the magwell. They make a couple of versions of that gun that are entirely different down there in the magwell area. And there's no rhyme or reason. You can't tell it. It's just one of those things you got to try to fit it and see. So
Yeah.
we see that a lot.
We could talk about that alone for hours.
Yep.
With other companies, Sig Sauer, I could give you some stories of things that why.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Once you've designed a screw, use that same screw in all of them. It's the
Right.
same screw. Why would you change the pattern? It doesn't make sense. So John, I'm ready to order a conversion kit. I've got, and by the way, in case you didn't know, you guys have multiple different slides, right?
Yes.
Or is it just the one style?
No, we just added the core slide as an OEM slide. The other day and this came out of, we had a customer ask us if we were going to ever do a core slide. And as you might guess, we go through a whole lot of stock M&Ps. We buy a lot of them to make our fuel complete guns. And there was a significant price difference, but I thought, well, we can sell the core slides as well. And it gives you an option.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a basic slide to do just a caliber conversion or to customize or do whatever, we have that one. We also have the core slides. It's a more limited availability because they are limited. There's not a lot of core guns available, but we do have them, and they'll come with the plates and everything, so you can put the various optics on them, and it's a pretty good bang for the buck.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sitting here going like this. I'm salivating almost. Like I was going to say, in case you didn't know, I'm ready to buy one. I need, especially now that you said you had the ones that have the core slides. That's even better for me. So where can I go to buy one? I mean,
all right. So just go to edbrown.com. All of that stuff's listed under M&P. You go to the shop and then go over to the M&P side. Everything, including our custom parts, are listed there. I know we had talked once before about why we don't put a barrel and slide together. And the reason we don't do it is it gives you choices. You can choose from all of the barrels we offer on our site, or you can choose a factory barrel. That's entirely up to you. All of our custom barrels are threaded, come with thread protectors in different finishes, and it gives you that option. You can use it in either one of those slides, our custom slide, the OEM slide, or the core slide. And for the record, the OEM slide is on sale right now for $199. And I'm going to give you an inside track. Black Friday's coming. We're going to do a doorbuster kind of thing where a limited number of those are going to be at a special price. The only way to find out about that is to subscribe to our newsletter and get on the newsletter list. You get to see it first. Everybody has become accustomed to Black Friday. We have a lot of fun with it every year. We sell a ton of merchandise around Black Friday, and it's just become a thing for us. It'll be a nice sale. The OEM slides are there. Magazines will be on it. I think we're going to do a grip sale. Be worthwhile to look at. Yep.
That's really cool. And John, my wallet hates you right now. My wife probably hates you, but you know, I am ready to order a slide. So, just edbrown.com and look at Smith and Wesson, and you got the parts there available.
Yep. Oh, every day, all day long.
Nice. Well, John, it was great talking with you. I'm gonna give you a chance. Is there anything else you want to plug? How does somebody subscribe to that newsletter you were talking about?
Right there on the website. Just look for the subscribe link and follow it out. Sign up for our newsletter. It keeps you up on guns in stock, any kind of sale we've got going on. Our newsletters are usually product driven. We don't do a lot of, you get to see videos of me a lot in there, me talking
Yeah.
about new products and different things. But yeah, that's all you got to do is subscribe. We don't spam you. We just send you a newsletter once in a while and tell you about deals we got going, a new product. And we sell a ton of custom grips, and that's the way we alert everybody that there's a new batch of those ready to look at.
Nice. I
So,
like that.
yep.
So you said you were on there a lot, doing talking about stuff. Is that a threat?
You know, people, I don't know. Look, I don't understand why, but people seem to enjoy those videos. I am
Yeah.
always shocked when we put out a new one and I'll get emails and calls and go, "Hey man, I saw you on the video. Thank you for that information." And, that's great. That's why we do it. I am always amazed. And I have been asked to sign a few autographs, and I always ask them, I'm not famous, right?
That is awesome. Well, John, hey, I won't take up too much of your time. I appreciate talking with you. And again, edbrown.com, sign up for the newsletter. Take a look at John's videos. And
It's great when it's got the EB on it, baby.
yes, sir. Hey, John, I appreciate it. XDMAN out, and look forward to next interview, sir.
Thank you, James.
Yes, sir.